All right, guys, hopefully we're live. Good morning, everybody. Welcome aboard to the Morning Note. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of Guard Capital. Glad to be with you this morning and every morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the YouTube channel. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of our future videos. Thanks again for all the support. Time to rock and roll. Going around the horn here, Dow futures are up 21 points. The Nasdaq's down 17. S&P down about 0.09%. We're above 5,000 on S&P futures. We got to 4,999 on S&P spot. So, I mean, kind of close, but didn't get quite there. Maybe we get there today. The Russell is flat, down 0.07%. 10-year Treasury yields are up 4.148%. We had a 10-year bond auction, the largest ever in history. And, well, the bond auction wasn't too terrible. The yields weren't too high. So, elevated, yes, but nothing to be too concerned with as the market kind of took it in stride. Good morning, Ryan. The dollar index, that's up 0.31% at 104.37. The volatility index is up 1.4% at 1301. Crude oil is up 1.18%, 74.73. $2.30 for gasoline futures. That's up 2%, even with the dollar higher. Gold futures are down 0.77%. Silver's down 0.67%. Copper is down as well, down 0.59%. In Forex land, euro dollar's down 22. Dollar yen up 116 points versus the yen. Pips, 134.85 for dollar Canadian dollar. That's up 23. Pound dollar down 43, 125.83. Bitcoin, we've been saying it, finally broke that seal of the 44,000 level. If you guys have been trading Mara with me, you guys know that we've been really talking about Bitcoin for a while. We're still looking for that trek to 50K. So nice pop. We'll see if Super Bowl weekend gives us a little more action. Weekends are for crypto on the Bitcoin world. 2440 on Ethereum. That's down this morning. Okay, so what do we talk about first? Any questions, feel free to type it away. First thing I wanted to go ahead and show everybody was Coinbase. Coinbase, because it's still with that Bitcoin proxy. You know, we kind of talk about it. 129, that's the level I'm looking for. I sent out a memo or a note to our investment club and our watch list and charts to keep an eye on Coinbase. If we can kind of maybe position ourselves here, buy the dip or go ahead and swing trade it here, or even options side above 129, we can start taking a look at the 140 area as our next resistance. We'll keep an eye on volume for options. In terms of the stock, 129 is in a bad place to get started, maybe 130, and then we can ride this all the way to next resistance of 199.82. But you got to get above 160 first. You got to get above the recent highs of 187. It's a long path, sure, but Bitcoin can show us the way. So again, if you're someone that doesn't want to own Bitcoin or something, and you just kind of want to trade the proxies of it, then there's one option for you. Take a look at the 4-hour chart. 42,000 held support beautifully. We are now, are we at monthly highs? Yep. We're at February highs. Yep. For the month, we are at 45,275. We're still looking to just retest 49,435 back from, I want to say this was the 9th of January. No, excuse me. That would probably be the 12th of January. So let's see if we can get above 46,000 and go from there. But Coinbase is definitely radar. Let's see about some names that we talked about yesterday. Palantir, we filled this with Masterclass. We have the 25 calls for March 15th. I got to 70% yesterday. That was an extra trade for them. Looks like we're going to break 24 here soon. If we get above a bag, definitely take some profits, Masterclass students. Or if you want to hold it, that's fine. You got tons of time. A little over a month, 5 weeks or so. But at the end of the day here, this is one I wish I would have sent to everybody. But the momentum is absolutely just carrying. So we do have that gap to fill here at 23.94. That's probably the best time to close. You leave a runner, guys, and then see if we can get in the money. And you have one more gap to fill in the weekly, 31.27. So Palantir is definitely going to be on the radar. We'll see if we chop around for a little bit, after all of this big move. But we'll see what we get. On the bottom of the screen, you do have some pre-market movers. So just a heads up. Mara, this one was a tough hold. A lot of people closed it early, closed it ahead of time. I didn't. I'm holding. We're back above 1845. I have the 19 calls for next week. Get me to 19 and a half. That's all I'm looking for. So once we break that and Bitcoin goes up, then it'll be a nice day for Mara. But it's been a tough hold. Apple, we had for everybody that hit right here, 44%, then pulled back, but it is holding around 189.35. The 190 calls were the signal. So again, if you still have it or someone that didn't trade it, that's fine. 190 looks to be coming. The question is does the Nasdaq get out of its own way? And in order for that to happen, we need the dollar to fall. Let's take a look at the daily. You can see right here, we're right above the 100-day. 104.60 has to hold. 104.60 has to hold. If not, then 105 is coming, and then you're probably going to start setting up for a possible pullback, the most anticipated pullback in the history of pullbacks. And yet, S&P futures are perfectly in this channel. Again, what is our base? Let's say if we did pull back, for example, the dollar goes higher. What is our case, best case or base case scenario? Better hold 48.93. Or we broke this channel and we got a little more room to go. So as long as we're staying in here, guys, I think we're going to be okay. If we get a dip bot here at 49.01, let's say if we do get it, then that's going to be very structurally sound and the bull market continues. Now, again, anything could happen. Anything could happen. But again, this is at least the technicals here. Good morning. Can you look at Para? I don't know if you mean Paramount or just Para P stock. These are convertible shares. Para P. I don't know if it's Para itself, the stock. I'd be talking about Paramount. Let's see. I'm looking here on Google, and I want to take a look at the dividend yield for Para is only 1.5%. So maybe you want to retype that for me, Donnell. Good morning. Jeff asking Disney 110 calls above the PM highs. Disney had a good quarter. Really 108 could be another scenario like Palantir where it just keeps going. But at the end of the day, all it did was fill a gap at 100. That's all we're filling right now. So, I mean, 107.47 is your next fib. Once you get above there, yeah, then we could start talking about possibly 116, Jeff. So let's just keep an eye on the options market on it. It could be that the move is already baked in and we may just hang around 103. And that's kind of the scary part. And we just kind of hover around. So get me above 107.47. I'll place an alert. We'll see if anything we could do there. But I can't say I'm jumping up and down to trade this name. It hasn't been a good name for me to trade. Thomas says, hey, good morning, Carlos. Sorry, I've been MIA for a bit. Looking at the SPY daily, are we going to fill the gap downwards? Gaps don't always have to fill, but yeah, man, it's right there. 490, 442. Why not? We're about to enter the most seasonally weak period in the stock market, the last 2 weeks of February. If you guys remember, that's when COVID started in 2020. When it really started was the the lockdowns and all that stuff. That was the tail end of February. So that number does skew the historical patterns or the historical numbers. So, you know, what happens when you have, let me go ahead. Give me a second here. Sorry, I thought I lost the comment. So really what you got to look at, team, is the simple fact that if everyone's anticipating a pullback, everyone, this can't go higher. What happens when it does? It just seems that it's too telegraphed. Everyone is too expecting of bad things to happen, kind of like October of last year. And what happened? We soared. So that's really the pain trade is higher because the higher we go, the more FOMO there is and the more fund managers have to buy. And then it's so much more market mechanics and gamma levels and all that stuff. But the pain trade is higher. And right now it's just a slow grind higher. You're not going to get the Dow up 1,000 points in a day. That's in bear markets for the most part. You don't get those in bull markets. It's usually pretty structured, looking like the way we have it right now. You know, yeah, slow, couple of bumps, but just choppy and grind higher. Frustration station, guys. That's all it is. So while everyone is expecting a pullback, everyone's expecting some kind of correction. What happens if it doesn't? If the end of February is green and the end of March is green, I mean, all bets are off at that point because that's when you have to pull back. You were thinking, you know, extreme greed, all this positioning, you can have all the information that you want. But if it doesn't happen, now, again, I do expect a pullback. Who isn't? I mean, at this point, you almost have to. But what if the dip is smaller than people expect and people miss that dip to buy? That's the hard part here, is that you're really fighting trend, trying to predict a pullback. I mean, just look at this structure here. It's been pretty much good, not perfect. You could see 2023 November and October broke down that trend. That was scary, but That could happen at any time. So it's all about, perspective and waiting to see what's next. Take it day by day, team. Um, Palantir above 24, 27, possibly 25 calls for next week. I already have the 25s for March 15th, so probably not. SMCI and Nvidia potential direction would pull back soon. Again, that's what everyone is expecting. I think it would be completely healthy if SMCI pulled back. Yes, that would be great. Why not? How about Nvidia pulling back? That would be great. Why not? The problem is, it's kind of like Bitcoin at this point. It's just what it is. It's just going to keep going higher. And yes, we have gaps to fill, but who's going to dip their toe first into puts? And what happens if it soars? What happens if we get to 800 next month? It's tough to buy here. It's tough to trade here. You just have to wait it out. If you own Nvidia or SMCI, best bet is to just enjoy the green on your port and just go from there. Because right now, buying here is not the smartest idea. You're kind of buying a Tesla back in 2021, the car, not the stock. And then you get the price cuts later, not the best. Not a knock on Tesla, but I'm just remembering the car sales back in 2021 when people were paying an arm and a leg for used cars. Eventually, that kind of retraces. AMD is holding the 20-day moving average, Alex, right around 167.34. I have an alert below 164.54, and we have a gap to fill at 149. So I'm waiting. I'm waiting to see if we can short this. I have no problem with that, but market's just not getting us any opportunity. Bad news, any news just gets shrugged off and bought. That just seems to be the way of the world at this moment. Past few days, Vale has a lot of volume. Thoughts? Let's take a look at Vale, excuse me, or Vale, whatever. Downward trend, very similar to Tesla on the 1 hour. Hasn't really broken anything. Nothing of meaningful importance. Maybe it's earnings. Got many gaps up here. I think this is an ADR like BABA. So again, there's going to be tons of gaps. But I don't see any reason to do anything here. The 20 broke down below the 200. That's usually not a good sign. 20 DMA is usually our momentum indicator. 200-day DMA is support. That's sliced it. So for us to even look at this name, we're going to have to see either a break of support right around 1266, or you got to break at least 14 and a quarter. But until then, meh. Oh, okay. Convertible stock, PRAB. Give me a second. Let me take a look at it. I assume this is just preferred shares. I don't see anything regarding the dividend. Or are they just Class A shares? 34% dividend. Wow. That's if they pay it. Danielle, I don't know. The one thing I do know about Paramount is that they're linking up with Disney and linking up with Fox for like a one-place sports hub. All right, go Bitcoin. Sorry. Being said, you could just get a online savings account at SoFi and get 5% without even thinking about it. Just don't go dividend yield chasing because they don't have to pay that. Remember that, guys. Just because they have a dividend, that's the past. They can cancel it at any time. Boeing canceled their dividend. Disney canceled their dividend 3 years ago. They just reinstated it. So don't buy a stock just because they pay a high dividend. Make sure they actually paid over time. So if there's one thing I want you to Google, Danielle, is take a look at something called dividend aristocrats. Those are the names that have paid out dividends for 40, 50 years. Like clockwork, they're always paying dividends. You want consistency over dividends over one time they paid out a great dividend. How's that? That's what I would say is the best bet to go. Let's take a look at Meta. Anything to do here, right? Just buy 500 calls and roll? Nah, can't do that. I mean, it's old enough. Kind of hard to, trade here when you got a massive death gap here at 406.75. Does that fill? Well, we never filled this one here at 215, and we never filled this one at 151. So buying here is a tough trek. If you get above 486, you can buy the 500s maybe, but this is too difficult to trade. You have just anything can happen approach. But someone that's in the same sector, how about Google? How about GOOG? I counter your meta buy with Goog. Get above 147.48, gets you above the 20, and you have a gap to fill at 153. We're just going to retrace the earnings move. That's all we're looking for. And you're perfectly within this channel. So Meta being fine, own it, enjoy, don't do anything with it. Google's the one you want to keep an eye on. And again, they're in the same sector, communications. So let's see if we retrace that earnings move. This name I have been watching. I'm watching Coin as well. So we got a lot of opportunities out there. Futures department did great. 2 NASDAQ long trades. They're pretty much set. We don't want to give anything back. Choppy. Qs, again, I had to go ahead and actually be conservative this round and told everyone to get out at around 10% because we were deep money, guys. The 430 calls. We were as high as 430, 283, got to 28% in the money. Mind you, deep in the money, we still couldn't get it. Options market right now in terms of demand, pretty wonky. So QQQ, screw them. I'd rather just do NASDAQ futures and I don't have to worry about stupid ass time day. A lot easier on the heart and blood pressure, I would say. With that being said, if you have Mara, we're watching it. Again, Coinbase, we're keeping an eye on Bitcoin as we go. Stay patient, stay vigilant. We'll see what we get. All right, team. Have a great rest of your morning. I will see you tomorrow's video. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Cheers all.